You say there's so much going on. There's nothing going on.
There's so much going on that it feels like nothing's going on because I'm at that peace. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that peaceful inside. You know what I'm saying? So like I know that I can only get done what I can get done in this moment. So I only stay in this moment and I do what I can do in this moment. And it alleviates all the anxiety of trying to get things done for the future. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just really in the mode of, in the moment of being present. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Seriously, like that's where it's at.
You know, that take a long time to learn. That take a long time to actually feel and understand why things are even being presented this way. How did you like? What developed this? You know what I mean? What developed your piece? What started it?
Uh, so it's a lot having to do with understanding and working with yourself. You know what I'm saying? No matter what religion you are, or your spirituality, or whatever you call yourself, the everything teaches you to know thyself. And until you start to know thyself, you're gonna have issues. You know what I mean? Like you gotta understand yourself. You gotta go in here and get the answers and clarities. You use all the stuff outside of you to navigate the inside of you. Just like we use a GPS to navigate around the world, I use books and knowledge and other people like you, inspirational people, videos, books. I use all that to navigate within myself to find those answers that I need. And everything always leads back to knowing thyself. And it's a constant daily thing that I do because you're constantly evolving. You're constantly getting hit with different situations. You're constantly having to you know what I mean, something may not go as planned, so you have to be able to pivot on a dime, but you got to understand that that thing is not happening to you, it's happening for you. You know what I'm saying? And when you can transfer that train of thought, when you can transmute that energy into understanding the moment, everything's blissful, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I do a lot of I'm very structured in my day. uh Scheduling is real big for that. You know what I'm saying? Understanding what you're going to do every day. You know, I meditate daily. I say positive affirmations daily. You know what I'm saying? I just continuously work on myself daily. You know what I mean? I only involve myself in the matrix when I have to. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm in my inside world. You know what I mean? And I'm accomplishing my goals because you know what we think we become, what we feel we attract, and what we imagine we create.
So this conversation is gonna be so deep because oftentimes we don't know how to focus on ourselves. Oh my goodness, and it's so difficult to do this, but you're doing it. But you're doing it every single day, and it's so special because you're doing it and you're making a conscious decision to even try to do it. But that's the key to life. You can't stop working on yourself. Terry, man, listen. It it's an honor to be in your presence right now because you know grew
Same,
so
man.
much.
Likewise, likewise. I've been watching what you've been doing. I've been watching what you've been doing, man. I've seen the growth from the first time we contacted last year. You know, I've seen it. You know what
That
I'm
was
saying?
last year.
Yeah.
What time frame?
I think it was around November ish, December ish, when we really started talking. I think we started following each other on TikTok
Yep.
and things like that. And then we reached out. You had hit me up about actually this right here. You know what I'm saying? So this is a manifestation of what we talked about months ago. And people got to understand that's how you attract, you bring these things into your life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And like you said earlier, the key to life. The key to life, I did a video on it. The key to life is today. Today is the key to life. What
Ooh.
you doing today? What are you doing today to work towards your goal? What are you doing today to better your life? What are you doing today to better those around you? That's all in the present. That's all right now. So the key to life is today, my G.
Mm. And it's so special because yesterday I did a video about controlling the narrative. My car battery died, but even though that outcome was there and was present, I can't change what has already happened. Just because that bad situation happened doesn't mean I'm gonna have a bad day. But oftentimes when bad situations occur, our whole entire day is ruined. But
If
you,
we allow it, if we allow it,
if we allow it, you're absolutely right. But you have to have peace to understand that things are going to work in your favor.
right? So like if something, all right, so I'm gonna use the car battery thing for an example. Yesterday, that happened. You had to cancel our reschedule our podcast, right? But
Yep.
now that's the only thing you had to do, and you was able to tend to your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you fast forward that and say your battery died on Tuesday, and you going on your way to work, or you going to a meeting that's prominent, and now you have to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? So by you dealing with it yesterday and understanding that happened yesterday, and being able to have the time to take care of that, now you don't have to worry about that going forward.
Mm.
So when you have a negative situation in your life, because you gotta understand, if a negative exists, also a positive exists. So you have to just rearrange your focus from that negative to the positive. Focus on the positive in a negative situation, and it'll transmute your energy and your train of thought.
I agree. I had watched this sermon last week or the week for last with the love of my life, and it was with Sarah Jakes, and she said oftentimes we just focus on one thing, but if you really pay attention, there's two intentions behind the bad or the good, but we always focus on what's hurting our feelings. But she didn't say it that way, but she said it in a way that was so profound. I'm like, I didn't even think of that. There's always two intentions in every situation, but what intention are you focusing on?
Right? Because we live in a dualistic reality. Everything's duality. You know what I'm saying? Everything's duality.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta understand that even though it's duality, it's the same energy. Like hot and cold is the same energy. It's just a difference in degree.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have good and you have bad, it's the same energy. It's just a difference in degree or vibration. You understand what I'm saying? Because everything's energy. Your thoughts, emotions, you know what I'm saying? Everything's energy. Everything begins with the thought, with the consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And my road to here, this one something not, this I'm 40, I'll be 43 years old in a couple months. And I started transitioning through my what a lot of people call spiritual awakening. You know what I mean? Last January when I quit drinking because I'm a happily recovering, peaceful alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? And I have to, and I embrace that. It's not a bad thing for me. You know what I mean? I needed to understand that in myself in order to elevate
Mm-hmm.
in consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Because addiction is real. You know what I'm saying? That disease of alcoholism is real. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
dealt with that for 20 years. You know what I mean? I was what they call a functional. I mean, I had the house, I had the car, I had the job. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't present doing none of that. You know what I mean? I wasn't present. I was physically here, but I wasn't present. You know what I'm saying? I was either knee deep in a bottle or worrying about what I should have did or worrying about what I'm going to do. And when you live in the future, that's anxiety. And when you live in the past, that's depression.
Ooh. When you live in the future, that's anxiety. When you live in the past, that's
That's
depression.
depression.
Mm. So, how did you know? You know what I mean? Like, what sparked that? Okay, I'm not present like I want to be. So, how can I start changing for myself?
It took me becoming present to understand that I wasn't present. Because you got saying my reality was that was my truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth is relative to the person who's going through whatever situation they're going through. And you can't tell that person that that's not their truth. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying? Because truth is relative to the person. That's in the law of relativity. But when I was an alcoholic, I thought I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. That was my life. That was reality. You know what I mean? And then the day before my birthday in 2021, uh, I had a real bad accident, motorcycle accident. Where I was unresponsive at the scene, and then I was life flighted. I was really messed up, and I was I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I got out. I was in a wheelchair for about 4 months. It took me about 6, 6, 7, 8 months to really walk without assistance. You know what I'm saying? Without a cane, without a boot, without, you know what I'm saying? But during that time frame, I had to sit with myself because I wasn't working. Everybody else's life had to go on. Ain't nobody life gonna stop because of mine. So I had to sit with myself through a lot of that. And I started drinking a lot more than I already was drinking. And that led to a serious state of depression because I've always been a get up and go type of dude. I could never sit still. You know what I'm saying? I had to be the life of the party. I was that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like really coming from the street life and all that other shit. Excuse my French. I don't know if I can cuss on it now, but coming from and I was sitting with myself through all that. Everybody was asking me like, did I have a coming to Jesus moment? Did I see a white light and all this stuff? And I was like, nah, it was complete darkness. And it wasn't until I started awakening that I knew I had a question. So my question was, who am I? And I had to sit with that, and I couldn't figure out who I was. I knew who society had dictated and programmed and navigated or shifted me to be. You know what I'm saying? I knew what the outside world built me to be, but I didn't know who I was. And I said, if I had died that day, what would my kids say about me? What could they say about my dad? And only thing I could think of was they could say, "Well, my dad was a president of a motorcycle club. He used to turn up. Uh, he'll get busy. He drank a lot. Like that. What kind of lineage is that, or what kind of example was that to set, man? And
Yeah.
that really hit home with me to the point where I was drinking so much that I couldn't stop one day. I just couldn't stop. I could not force myself to get up, and I just kept drinking. And when I finally got up, I had a psychotic break. That's what I call it. And then I just wanted to end it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was over with. Like I was driving in my car, drunk, and I was just like, yo, I'm about to just drive in the river. I'm about to end it. It's over with. Like I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to live like this no more. But I ended up in front of my cousin crib, and he came out, he took my keys. I was on the phone with my mom. The things I can remember about it, I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm on the phone three-way with my older brother. And I think I had called my oldest son that night, and my my cousin came out. He took my keys. He called my wife. She showed up. She drove me home. I'm crying. I remember I had a fifth of vodka sitting on the counter. I got to the house. I turned that up, and then I poured it all out in the sink. And then I sat in my recliner. And my wife didn't say a word to me. She didn't yell at me. She didn't cuss me out. No, nothing. But when I got up in the next morning or the next day, she had went to work and she had left a note on the side of my on the little nightstand thing, and it was numbers to Alcoholics Anonymous. So that was the first day I took action in recovering myself. I called those numbers and I went to my first meeting that day, which was January 27th, 2022. And here I am, peaceful and sober and loving life today.
Man, man, man. That is so incredible. You mentioned that you see that you see my growth. I feel your growth. Just because of how much worked on yourself. And like you mentioned earlier, everything is about energy. I'm able
Yeah.
to feel your energy because I've worked on myself. But my divorce taught me that depression. Okay, one, depression is real, and it's hard to overcome if you're not seen in your pain. So then, as I'm really learning how to communicate, how to feel my emotions, I got the journaling, I got the making videos, I got the really just trying to figure out who am I. You mentioned something. You mentioned a statement earlier about who am I. I'm trying to figure out who I was. I didn't know what I want to do. I didn't know how I want to do it. I just knew my feelings was really hurt, and they've been hurt like that. That was the first time that they've been hurt like that because I'd never been through a situation, a divorce. But Terry, when I tell you it was the most profound lesson that I ever learned, because I got divorced same time last year, April 2022. I asked my ex-wife for a divorce. From April to January 1st, January 2nd of 2023, that compressed knowledge that I had to learn in a quickly time span was so overwhelming. I didn't know how to control it. But it also taught me and it showed me who I'm becoming. Just because I have pain doesn't mean I'm the only one going through it. I have
Facts.
pain, but I'm going through it. But I'm not the. I have to be around people that can help me grow and continue to become this person. You've
Right.
been through a lot the last year and a half. You've been through a lot, but you're at peace because you are present. You are present today. And that's the most valuable thing to ever be is to learn what present really means. You mentioned a statement about your wife. How important is to have a supporter as a partner?
Your support system is, um, whether it's your wife or a family member, whatever. Like your support system is very big. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to perform and do the work, but it feels really good to have somebody cheering you on.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because if they cheering you on and you're not doing the work, that support system is gonna go away. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it like a sports team, like people show up and they cheer their team on all the time. And if their team sucks, sometimes they'll show up with a paper bag over their head. You know what I'm saying? As in the mock the team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at that on an individual level and you start doing that work and people is cheering you on, that cheer is gonna get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder to the point where you won't even hear that cheer anymore because you will see it. Because when you change your inside, when you change who you are, when you understand and you change who you are, and you start to change, everything on the outside of you starts to change. So you may lose some friends, you may gain some friends. You may lose some family members, you may gain some family members. But you got to understand that them things is not happening to you. They happening for you. Because we can only align what's vibrationally in frequency with us.
Mm.
That's why you're able to feel me and I'm able to feel you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
how that works. And I
Energy.
and I
My
understand
bad.
that and I move through that energy with love. You know what I'm saying? Like if love is the highest frequency. Once again, if you go through any religion, it's love. You know what I'm saying? Just really if you talk about let's just say let me use Christianity. You know what I'm saying? In the Bible it tell you put no other God before me. It also tell you to seek the kingdom of God. But in Luke 17:21, it also tells you that the kingdom of God is within you. So if you put yourself first and you be present and you operate out of love, not only is you going to change your reality and then your reality, but you're going to change the reality of those around you because either they're going to fit in your new reality
Or they
or
not.
they not.
And that is okay. That is okay to identify that because oftentimes we want to impress everybody, but everybody's not meant to be impressed. So why do we put ourselves in an uncomfortable position because we trying to please the next person? No, 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 no. I had to learn how to put myself first. I had to learn how to love myself. I had to learn to say that it's okay not to put everybody before me because if I don't put myself first, how can I help anybody? And it's so powerful to even learn and feel and to even understand because life is going to happen. Life is not going to stop life. And there's a quote. It's called "Life be life." It's not going to stop happening because you can't predict your future. You can only be present for today. But as you're present for today, are you preparing for tomorrow? There's so many lessons that go on within the journey. If we're not present, we're missing and and becoming aware of what's going on. That is so special. Your support system is so special and so key because it shows you that you're doing something right. And you said instead of hearing it, you can feel the cheers.
Yeah.
how were you able to dictate to understand that you was feeling the cheers that you was looking for?
because the dynamics of relationships change. You know what I'm saying? So the relationship I had with my kids a year ago is not the same relationship I have with my kids today. Same relationship I had with my wife when I was drinking is not the same relationship I have with my wife today. Like when that all happened and the whole thing, she had checked out. She was done. Out of love for me, she left that little note with those numbers on it. But mentally, she was checked out of the relationship, you know. And we just celebrated 20 years marriage. So at 19 years, she checked out. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But now, her being my biggest supporter, the change in the dynamic of our relationship, that's something I feel. I heard it when she put the note down. I feel it now.
Mm. I heard it when she put the note down because she showed that she cared for you in a different way that couldn't even be explained. What do you think that you learned from your wife within the last year?
I learned to understand what it is to be as a man to be in tune with the feminine energy.
Mm.
Because like I said, we live in a dualistic world. So every person on this planet is made up of masculine energy and feminine energy. It's throughout creation. It's in everything. And we are groomed, especially young brothers, from an early age to not be soft, to hide your emotions, to not be in tune. We already from that young age is being separated from ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So really just understanding and seeing my wife. And when I started transitioning through my spirituality, she hadn't transitioned yet. So she wasn't understanding a lot of things I was going. Once again, I was feeling her support because she like, well, at least he ain't drinking. You know what I mean? But then when she started her journey and really started to feel the energy that was coming off me, she was like, I wonder where that's come from. So she started going on her own journey. And her own journey, I started feeling her energy and I started to understand what divine feminine energy was.
Mm.
Because I'm looking at a divine feminine in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So that got me to really figuring out how to tap into the feminine energy within myself, which is the intuitive, the compassion, the emotional side. Because all the logic and order and structure, it's all the masculine side. And part of that being at peace is daily balancing those two energies. Because when you're in balance, you're in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you're in sync with what you're doing, your purpose.
Ooh.
And that's one of the things I teach in this. While I don't teach, I facilitate and help you find that, your divinity and masculinity.
So, what exactly is divine femininity? Because you said it, but it was so special that you brought it up. But to break it down a little bit more, what is divine femininity?
Divine feminine energy is the essence of all life. That's the best way I can describe it. You got to understand every man and woman on this planet came through the womb of a woman. That is your first teacher. When you was young, when you got hurt, did you run to your dad or did you run to your mom?
My dad wasn't even in my life, so my mama.
Or did you uncle or auntie? Yeah, I understand that. I'm the same way. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know? So that feeling when you was embraced by your mother, that comfort, that I'm not alone in this world feeling, that emotional connection, that essence, that's divine feminine.
Mm, mm, mm. That that's so special. One description that you left out that I believe that's really important as men to understand is the nurturing of that's in us, like how to nurture our
Yeah.
spouse, our kids, our family, and things of that nature. Because we can
And
do it.
yourself. And
And
yourself.
yourself, you can't leave yourself out because we can do it, but how do you do it? How are you able to do it? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
is it even okay to even nurture and show love to yourself first, to yourself, and then show it to everybody?
Yeah, because if you show it to yourself first, you're going to automatically show it to everybody else. Because we, what we call flaws in other people is just situations within ourselves that that we won't reconcile. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And
That
we constantly around that type of energy is because we're on the same frequency as that toxicity
mm,
because it's toxic in us.
and we having faith.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I
My bad.
I apologize.
I was going to say our outer world is a direct reflection of our inner world.
You said that in the beginning. Our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. Because if you can't control our inner world, our outer world is gonna dictate who we're becoming. That and as simple as that sounds, it's the most difficult thing to even understand because we haven't even been taught it.
The one that I was told this one time, man, and I didn't understand it, but this was probably about 10 years ago. Somebody told me, good friend of mine, he said, and I was going, my nickname, Dub, and he was like, Dub, let me tell you something. He said the hardest thing a person can do is do nothing. And I couldn't understand that for the life of me, man. But now I understand it.
So
Because
what?
if you're doing absolutely nothing, you ain't got no choice but to be present.
Oh, I just caught it. And when you become present, that doing nothing turns into you learning more about yourself. And that's when you become peace. That's when you become present. That's when you become aware of yourself and your purpose and who you becoming. How does it feel to be the man that you are today?
Man, it's it's blissful, man. It's such a like understanding that perfection lies in imperfection. That everything right now in this moment is as it should be. You can't help but constantly rejoice. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm at a state where I'm just so unbothered. You know what I mean? Because I can control what I can control. And I don't even attempt to try to control anything else anymore. I used to drive me crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just like my wife showed me a video the other day where it was pictures of people going to the grocery store in 2020, right?
With
With all the
with the mask on?
yeah, with all the different crazy masks, right? With all the different crazy masks. And I immediately just started laughing, right? And I look at people who grocery shopping today. It's the same energy, different polarity, but that's how I view my life. Before, is that craziness in the grocery store. And now my life today is the grocery store as it is today. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I am in it. I'm trying to visualize it and metaphorically put it and example it out as much as I can. But to be honest, my brother, man, it's just a feeling that really I can't explain. But you know it when you're there.
But you know when you there.
And it's constant work, man. It's a constant work. It's constant. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's why I was able to write my book. You know what I mean? I when I did a spiritual fast, dry fast, and I came out of that and I wrote that book. I didn't know what the pages was going to tell, but through journaling, meditation, the dry fast, I knew what every chapter was named. I knew how it was going to line up. I knew what the four parts was going to be. I knew the name of the book. I knew how it was going to be structured. So all I had to do was fill in the pages. So when I filled in those pages, I started on November 14th, 2022, and I was done writing December 14th, 2022. And if you and anybody who reads that book will see the work done within. And it's just going to challenge you and make you ask questions about yourself through my experiences. That's what that whole book is about. It's about the journey within, how I began and how I ended up where I'm at today.
And it's called resurrection of self, right?
The resurrection of self.
It took you a month to write the book, a month and some days.
30 days.
That's so special. When I wrote my book, I started September 16th of 2022. Then I finished January 2nd of 2023. But just like you, as I was writing the book, I didn't know what this book was about to be presented and even come from, or even do, or even what this was going to even do. When I wrote the book, when I produced it, when I read it, when I understood it, I was like, this is my story in the simplest form. But now I have so much clarity on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it for, what I'm doing, and who I'm doing it for. Because oftentimes, as we have pain, we don't know how to overcome the pain. When you hear somebody else's story and put yourself in that same situation, it's like, oh, I am not alone. There is somebody out here that understand what I'm currently going through, but it's just in their own words. Do you feel like you have more clarity on what your purpose is now?
I know it took me a while. I knew that I was moving in my purpose. I didn't know exactly what that purpose was until I went and to this place a couple months ago, back in March, called the Getaway. And I took a little personal retreat, and I went out there and I just sat with myself. I did some hiking, did the trails, and I just really sat with myself. And it ended up being a weekend of release. And I was very emotional. I was crying. I was letting things go that I still had built up in me. Um, and through that release is when it dawned on my purpose, what my purpose is. I knew I had been moving in that purpose, but I didn't know what that purpose was until that weekend. So my purpose is to, when I'm in alignment with myself and I'm doing me, my purpose is to help others. But I can't go get them. They have to present themselves to me, and then I help them transition whatever they need to transition through. The biggest way I like to explain it is if I'm sitting at the river and I have a boat, someone shows up to the river and needs to get to the other side. I carry them to the other side, and when they get to the other side, they can continue their journey. And that transition across that water is for me to help them through understanding their awakening, their spirituality, their religion, whatever it is that they see that's relative to them. I'm just here to help them navigate that portion so they can continue on their journey. So people who show up to the class are in that situation, or we help and move them through energies and blockages through the chakras to understand themselves. So I'm just a guide, you know what I'm saying? That's all. And I guide, and through that guidance is help, support, love, all the things that sometimes as young men we're deprived of. So I create a space for that support if you're seeking it.
Mm. So is this where your divine in masculinity was built from?
Yeah, that's where it all originated from. That's how that came about. But how it was birthed is I was looking at TikTok, and it's a group out of LA called Walk Good LA. And they had a video, and they posted a video, and it was all men, and they was meditating, and they was doing yoga, and they was journaling. And I just watched the video. I probably watched the video like 20 times because I was just like, you know what, that's something I want to be a part of. So I'm planning to go to LA to, be a part of this. I'm trying to figure out like what weekends they do this, or when is the next event like this, so I can, plan accordingly, fly out there, be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to experience it. So I went to talk to I was talking to my soul sister, who owns the Blue Herbal Goddess. Shout out to Nicole. Um, I was showing her the video, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to go to LA to do that. And she looked at me and she said, why you want to go to LA? And I said, because I want to be a part of this. I want to, I want to be involved. I want to experience this. And she asked me again, why you want to go to LA? And she started looking around her establishment, her business. Why you want to? And I said, dawned on me. She said, yeah, won't you just create it here? Create a space here. I get men that come in here all the time, you know, asking about this or asking about that. And I'm a woman. So it'd be good to come from a divine masculine. So we sat down, I started journaling about it, meditating on it, and here we are, the third month running.
Mm.
Because what you imagine, you create. And that's not just in the positive, because you got to understand everything is energy. So if you're imagining you're going to have a hard time doing something, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a hard time doing something. You understand what I'm saying? So people
Yeah.
really got to understand your thoughts are that powerful.
Hmm.
Your thoughts are that powerful.
There's a book. It's two books that really speak about this. Um, The Secret and Think and Grow Rich, and a third one. I don't think it's a book, but I think it's just saying Law of Attraction. The Law of Attraction is in The Secret, but the to what is called Rich. Wait, what is called Think and Grow
Talking
Rich? It
about
just
rich dad, poor dad.
no, not Rich Dad Poor Dad. Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
um these books are really just saying describing the power of belief. It's not biased. Well, like you just mentioned, it doesn't go to one. It doesn't dictate what's going to happen on either side. No, no, no. It's an equal balance between good and bad. Whatever you think, that's what's going to happen. Either good is going to happen or bad is going to happen. It's happening because you are thinking it. And it's crazy when I actually believed and understood this was when I got in a car accident. I got in a car accident June 29th of 2022. Prior to me getting in an accident that day, a couple weeks ago, I even imagined it. What if me or my ex-wife get in a car accident? Then what happened? Couple weeks passed by, I was the one that got in the accident. Then I'm like, oh, the power of the mind is so unique. We don't understand what we're thinking into our daily lives. And it's like I can't blame nobody but myself because I believed it was going to happen.
Right. And being present also makes you aware. See, awareness is something that you have to understand too, because you're gonna have thoughts regardless. You know what I'm saying? But when you're able to be aware of those thoughts, knowing that you have them, be aware of them, you don't have to sit in them, and they won't resonate because you are aware. Okay, I'm having this thought. I'm aware of that. Let me move away from that thought because you're aware of it. A lot of times we're not aware of our thoughts, and most of the time our thoughts ain't even our thoughts.
Mm. The outside thoughts infecting the inside.
Yeah, you gotta remember we've been indoctrinated since we was kids, man. From our parents, from school, from churches, from you name it. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Mm.
How
Mm.
many times you use your imagination, or you was at a kid and you using your imagination, you creating these worlds, and people tell you, nah, that man, what you talking about, man? You crazy? Nah, that ain't. It's wrong to have an imaginary friend, or it's wrong to do this, or don't think like that, or that ain't logic, or that ain't gonna happen, or we ain't got it, or all that type of stuff, man. Those and them thoughts get embedded into your body, and then your mind and your consciousness and your subconsciousness. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
the subconscious is way more powerful than the consciousness. You
It,
understand what I'm saying?
it is.
So when you start to reprogram yourself, working on yourself to reprogram yourself, the daily affirmations, meditation, reading, being out in nature, all that stuff is reprogramming the subconscious, your etheric body. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because we way more than just the physical. This is just a temporary shell. You know what I'm saying? And when we understand that we spiritual beings having a human experience and not the other way around, but you will hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with people of spirituality, but you gotta understand spirituality belongs to you. It's you. Can't nobody tell you how to be or what to be or how your spirituality should look. Only you can do that. And that's why when people ask me, am I religious? And I'll be like, no, I'm spiritual. I don't knock whatever anybody else got going on because it's not my job to tell anybody what they got going on. My job is to do me and let what I'm doing resonate. And then if you got questions, feel free to ask. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's where I'm at with it, and understanding that those energies, and understanding the power of those thoughts, of our consciousness.
I always say that as well. I'm not religious. I'm just spiritual. I'm very spiritual. I have a personal relationship with God. And one time I was talking to, I forgot who I was speaking with. I think I said a couple weeks ago. I said, think of this. I said Christianity is like a separation between. I'm not Christianity, but religious. Religions are like separation from different people when you just serving the same purpose, same God. I'm like, to be honest, there's nothing against it, but I'm just spiritual. I don't claim myself as a Christian, as a Baptist, or nothing like that. I'm spiritual. That is it. I am spiritual.
And
Me.
that's all. Yeah, and that's all it has. That's all it is.
That's all it
Either somebody gonna accept it or they ain't. You know what I mean? That's to their own discernment. That's their own reality. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. It's a process behind the journey, but are you willing to go through that phase? Everything's going to be difficult. Everything that you don't know how to do will be overwhelming because you ain't never done it before. Think about it when you called the number before, your heart was racing. Your heart was pumping. You didn't know what to expect. Your anxiety was through the roof because you didn't even know how to control it.
Look,
Is that correct?
yes, I sat in that parking lot, man. I sat in that parking lot. The meeting started at 6 o'clock. I sat in that parking lot till 5:59:59,
559.
debating whether I was gonna go in that building or go to the bar.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect when I walk in there. I thought that people was gonna judge me because I'm a young black brother, melanated brother. Um, I got a gold tooth. My hair was braided. You know what I'm saying? I was walking with a cane. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't know what these people gonna expect, man. But when I walked in that room, the level of man, how can I explain it? The level of release, the weight lifted off my shoulders, man. I mean, the exhale on that, Chief, because they embraced me. And it was people
Yeah.
of all ages, religions, color, gender, and it didn't matter, man. No one cared what you look like. Everybody in there was there for the same reason, to be sober. And when you have a common collective consciousness like that, man, you can't do nothing but build on it. You understand what I'm saying? That is a solid foundation, collective consciousness.
Mm. And it's so special. So I'm only 24 years old, right? What I've learned is that I'm in a threshold in the middle of where I can connect with so many different people. Not just older people, not just younger people. I can connect with everybody just because of the level of understanding that I have within myself. Every Ever since I went through my divorce, I became a better person. I became a better man. I became more understanding of myself. But now it's like, okay, when I learned how to be a man, what does that even mean? I'm more aware of myself, and as I'm more aware of myself, I'm able to help other people find themselves and their purpose. So I was raised by a single mom, and she raised three boys by herself. Did an amazing job, a phenomenal job. But there's only so much a woman can teach a boy. A boy has to become a man by learning and emulating what a man is. How you do that if you haven't been around one? Granted, I did play football. I was into sports, but I was only able to temporarily see what a man was from practice, which is absolutely fine. But now, since I'm talking about this, I really just understood what a man was from working my mentors, Mike and Briglio and Steve Anderson, within real estate. But they taught me in a lesson to where they was teaching me about business, about sales, about communication, how to change my tonality, how to listen, how to match my audience voice, or not voice, but their tone. When he was doing this, Terry, when I tell you it was so difficult to even have a conversation to understand what the problem was, because oftentimes we are so embarrassed of the problem, we don't even want to discuss it. So we beat around the problem, we beat around the bush. How do you get to the main problem if you're not asking the right questions? Terry, I don't know if you've done this. Have you ever been to sales?
Yeah, you can say so.
Okay, so it's essentially so you just talking to a lot of people. You just talking to a lot of people. Um, my mentor, we was on Zoom. I was on a call, and he watching me having this call. When I tell you, it's the most nerve wracking thing I've ever done. I'm on the call. He's typing notes. I'm trying to listen to the homeowner problem. I'm trying to listen to them. I can't listen because I'm trying to read, and he's typing paragraphs. So now I have to read the paragraph, see what I'm supposed to say, but I'm not really listening to the problem. I'm not really listening to the homeowner. But it taught me. He was like, Terrell, you sound like a kid. I said, what does that even mean? What does that? What does that even mean? He said, every time you get on the phone, you get on the phone super excited. So somebody called me like they'll call, I'll call them, they'll pick up the phone, be like, hey, how you doing? My name is Terrell Humphrey, and have you recently thought about selling your place? I was like, no, okay, cool. Well, if anything changes, please keep my number, and I would love to be in contact with you. He was like, bro, you sound like a kid. He said, if the homeowner get on the phone and their tonality is low, their tone is low, they get on the phone and be like, hello, you match it. Hey, is this John? Yes, it's John. What do you want? You're matching it. So I'm like, when it was presented, I didn't understand it. As I continued along my journey, I started to learn he was teaching me how to communicate and become a man
Mhm.
by learning how to understand. So I'm like, that is crazy. I learned how to understand by being in sales and communicating with other people. Now I'm able to communicate and tell my story in a way to where people can understand it in different ways and apply it to their own life. So not only is my purpose more clear and I have more clarity, I understand why I'm in the position that I am in because I can connect with more people. We all can connect with more people, but I'm in the middle. So I can connect with you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Both my generation and your generation. So there's no disconnect when we all going through the same exact thing.
exactly. Because it's all energy.
It's all energy.
All energy. And when you understand, ain't no time in that.
Hmm.
Ain't no age in that. You understand what I'm saying? There's no
Hmm.
time in that. Time only is a construct of this reality that we are presently in. You understand what I'm saying? But when you start talking about energy, you start about things on the etheric plane, then time don't exist there. So if your energy resonates with somebody who's 70 or with somebody who's 7, it's still the same energy.
Hmm. Hmm. I remember I did a podcast a couple months ago, and I think I was late. I apologize for being late. She was like, "Time is of the illusion." I'm like, "What? I'm like, what does that even mean?" She was like, "Time is of the illusion." She was like, "You're good."
Yeah.
When
Time,
you just said that, huh?
time is a construct.
Yeah,
I
it blew
don't
my mind.
like I don't really fool with time. Like I know I have to deal with it out here in the 3D. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. But mine's is cycles. Everything's cycle. You understand? Like the seasons, like the rising and the setting of the sun. The rising and setting of the moon. It's all cycles. It's all energy. You understand what I'm saying? So when I don't view time. That's why when I tell people, man, I'm done aging. You know what I'm saying? Because every time you see me, I'm gonna look younger
Mm.
because I no longer govern my life by time.
Ooh, that's and this will make you become a better person, a better husband, and a better father. Is that correct?
Yeah, because when when I understood time, that it don't exist basically, um, and only now exists. It goes back to being that present thing. I got more time in the world to do anything that I want to do. I remember running around before, like, man, I ain't got time to stop at this store. I ain't got time. If I need to stop, I'm stopping because whatever's going to happen after this already to happen anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So time doesn't, and the more I started to understand that and move through that, the more I realized that what I'm in a rush for. Why am I always in fight or flight mode? Like I'm just cruising around in airplane mode, really. It's just cool, but I get so much more done. So much more done.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Man, because you're present and you're aware of what's going on, which makes you not even build your anxiety up because you're thinking about the future.
Exactly. Because
Mm.
I can only do what I can do right now. And what I do right now will bring whatever I'm creating into fruition later. You know what I'm saying? So if I know if I want to start a business today, right? If I want to start a business, then I have to be like, okay, what does that business entail? And I'll just do that for today. That's working towards it. That's starting to align myself vibrationally with what I'm trying to attract. You mentioned the law of attraction earlier. And I know a lot of people run around and they talk about the law of attraction, the law of attraction, manifest this, manifest that. But the way that that actually works is you have to understand all the universal laws, not just the law of attraction. You need to know all 12. You need to understand the seven hermetic principles. You need to understand the seven spiritual laws of success. And you got to understand that in order to attract anything, you got to be on the same frequency, vibration as that of what you are trying to attract. So the law of vibration is way more important than the law of attraction because you have to be in line with the law of vibration to even attract what you need to attract. You understand what I'm saying? And you
Hmm.
got to understand that by knowing that everything is connected, which is the first law, universal laws, which is the law of divine oneness. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that you have to do. You have to be in tune with all those in order for that law of attraction to work.
That's deep. And it's deep because it's so uniquely misunderstood. But it's understood because we're not putting the time and effort to really learn it and understand
Right. Because you got to have action. Regardless of what you do, you have to have action.
it.
Understand what I'm saying? You could run around here, and you will hear it. You will hear it in like, especially in the generation above me. I just put it in God's hands. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it out there. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Well, you know what? It ain't gonna never be meant to be because you're not taking any action to move towards that which you were trying to that you desire. You understand what I'm saying? And I ain't knocking it. I'm just using it as an example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you hear the phrase, man, that this just the way I am, or you know what I mean. I'm like this because I'm a product of my environment. You know what I mean. I'm none of that no more.
None
You
of
know what I'm
that.
saying? You won't hear none of that come out my mouth no more. You know what I mean? I don't even. I tell people, man, I don't even grind no more. Like the grind, the hustle, the daily grind, that shit's over. You know what I'm saying? Well, because all I was doing was exerting a bunch of energy based off of what I thought the outside wanted for me, not the opposite way around. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you have to have action. You know what I mean? I have a quote highlighted in my Alcoholic Anonymous book that says, faith without works is dead. So you can have all the faith in anything you want to have in, but if you ain't doing no work, if you ain't doing action, it's a moot point. It's dead.
I agree. I, you can have said that
So
any better.
that's one of the universal laws, the
Yep.
law of inspired action. You understand what I'm saying? Everything is connected. Me, you, these devices we on, it's all connected. It's all energy. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
Everything is like a full circle. Everything is it is a full circle, but you complete the circle when you start working on yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because you can't have one without the other.
You cannot have one without the other. Go back to the topic we said earlier. Can't have the good without the bad. It's going to happen, but how are you controlling your narrative?
Right.
Terry, man, this is a great conversation. This is a phenomenal conversation. So before we end, I only have one segment. It's called Best for Last. So I ask four questions towards the end. Wait, I ask four questions, and you answer with a quick explanation.
Sounds dope. I'm with
Okay,
it.
okay. What are you grateful for?
Right now, this moment,
Being present. What do you regret?
nothing.
Mm. How do you keep your composure?
Meditation.
And last question: what does failure is knowledge mean to you?
That's crazy that you asked me that. When I first seen that, when I first started following you, I didn't understand. I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, failure is knowledge. What is he trying to say? So I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't get it. At 42 years old, I didn't get it at first. Now I understand it. So what failure is knowledge goes right into everything that happens is not happening to you, it's happening for you. So every situation is knowledge. Everything. Because everything that happens has a learning point. Failure is knowledge. It's the same thing as saying experiences is wisdom.
Ooh, I want to touch on this. I want to touch on this. You said when you first saw it, you didn't understand it,
Yeah,
but you understood it when it was time for you to really dive into it.
exactly.
Terry, how can people find you? How can they get their book? How can they join your community? How can they work with you?
Well, straight up, you can find me on TikTok. I be getting them confused sometimes. Let me look at it real quick. So, TikTok, you can find me at Terry underscore B23. On Instagram, you can find me at let me get to that one. Uh, Terry Terry underscore B757. That's my two social media platforms that I'm constantly on. Also, my book is on Amazon, The Resurrection of Self. Self is spelled with two L's, stands for spiritually enlightened, living, loving frequency. Um, Also, those links you can find on Amazon, and then also on Book Baby, and that link you can find on my TikTok bio and also on my Instagram bio. It's a great read. It's dope. You know what I mean? I hope it bring enlightenment to who reads it, man, because that's what it's about. It was never about monetary. It was never about being famous. It's if I could just change one person's life because they read that book, then that book is a success. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how I view everything that I do, man. And that's how you keep up with me. I like to cook. I'm vegan, so you'll see a lot of that on my page and everything like that. So you know what I'm saying? And it's just been really blissful. And Terry, Terry, I really appreciate you, man. Like I said, you at 24 years old, man, you are an inspiration to many, and you're what we call timeless because age is not a factor with you. You understand what I'm saying, man? And you keep doing what you're doing, man. You're gonna impact a lot of lives, man. As you impacted mine. Uh, and it's just great, man. And I appreciate you taking time out and having me on your show, man. I really do.
Man, I appreciate you for coming and dropping your game, your wisdom, your experience. Because oftentimes your experience is the best teacher, but how do you teach what you've been through? You have to become aware of yourself. So I appreciate you and your time, man, because I've learned so much. I enjoy our conversation. And this is not our last endeavor. We have what is called feature we're working together in the future later on
Yeah,
for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Before we end, Terry, do you have any closing words for the audience?
You know, um, reprogramming your consciousness is the biggest part of being successful. Always love yourself, love your experiences, love your situations, and just love being here because there's so many people who don't have the opportunity that you have in this very moment. Whether your opportunity is dope or you're struggling, it's always somebody or something that is worse off. So when you're understanding the positive and the negative, you're gonna always move in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And just know that what we think, we become, what we feel, we attract, and what we imagine, we create. Ashe.
There you have it. That I can't even come back off of it. We just gonna end it right there. Make sure you click this video right here, mate, to watch more videos on how to become more aware of yourself and develop as a person. We appreciate y'all.